The jury in the Jesse Ventura defamation trial has ended a second day of deliberation without reaching a verdict. The former Minnesota governor claims he was defamed by the author of the best-selling book American Sniper. Chris Kyle says that he punched out Ventura in a bar for making offensive comments about Navy SEALs. Ventura says that never happened. Pat Kessler has been in federal court in St. Paul following the case. So, Pat, I mean, this must be a little more complicated than it sounds. Why don't we just have a refresher on what exactly the jury's deliberating?
Yeah, that's exactly right. I think this is very complicated for the jury. They've now deliberated 11 hours and they have not reached a verdict. Because he's a public figure, Jesse Ventura has a higher standard to prove that he was defamed. So the jury is deciding whether the author, Chris Kyle, knew that this story was false or whether he had serious doubts about it and published it anyway. Jesse Ventura has a long history of making controversial statements that some find offensive, including this 2012 press conference in which he denounced the United States government.
We are no longer, in my opinion, the United States of America. We're the fascist states of America.
But the former Minnesota governor, who once refereed a WWE Summer Slam event while in office, says he'd never act out or say what American Sniper Chris Kyle claims he did. The best-selling book that's soon to be a Hollywood movie claims Ventura not only badmouthed America's military at a Navy SEAL funeral wake, he said the SEALs deserve to lose a few, meaning die in combat. And you believe Chris told the truth?
I know he did.
Ventura is now suing Chris Kyle's widow after he was tragically murdered trying to help a mentally ill combat veteran. Taya Kyle says everything her husband wrote is true.
It still is the truth, and no matter what happens in this trial, it doesn't change the truth, and it doesn't change the people who know him and know his character and his integrity.
Well, the jury is not deciding whether this fight occurred. The jury is going to decide if the book and the story in it defamed Governor Ventura. And if it did, they can decide, Frank, whether to award damages. Governor Ventura is asking for up to $15 million in damages because of this lawsuit.
Pat, has the jury asked the judge any questions or asked to see any documents or evidence? Do we know?
You know, Frank, for the second time today, the jury sent a question to Judge Richard Kyle, no relation to the author. They sent him a question, and we don't know what that is. The judge will not make that public. But apparently, for the second time, they are struggling over something. Again, for the second day, they have not reached a verdict, and they come back tomorrow at 9 a.m. to try it again.
How interesting. All right, Pat, live at the courthouse. Thank you.
You bet.
Roseville police